So we've got TopSolid here with WoodCam, design in wood, and quoting. So a fully integrated system. So if we just started off with a new drawing here, and what I'm going to show you is volumes, because I want to fill these volumes in with, say for instance, carcasses and doors and drawers and so on. Now as I'm drawing, and I'm automatically assigning dimensions to everything I draw. So this isn't just for visual purposes, it also gives you parametric qualities to all of these drawings, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. So I can create my volumes here, and I can say h is equal to 780. So that's my height. This again is just height, and this once again is height. Just going to make it transparent so we can all see through it. And I'm going to fill these spaces in with one of our library items. So it could be a basic carcass here. Inside this, inside this, inside this, press OK. Carcass thickness, it could be anything you want, or from this pull down menu. Say 16 mils, and stop it there. As you can see, we've got fixings. If we turn off our fixings here, we've actually got the drill holes for those screws, and we've also got our edge banding. Okay. Now, let's include a few doors now. So where are my doors? My doors are here. We'll say a left-hand door. Click here, and it's asking me for multiples, yeah, so I'll bring it into another unit as well. Just asking me here for all the gaps and so on. And as you can see, we've got all the hardware in place. So I'll just make the machining here automatic. And what I can also very quickly do is I can click on, say for instance, this door here. I can change the machining here in the hardware. If I just change that to maybe a horizontal, as you can see there. So if we rotate, there we go. So yes, I want to modify all of them. So it's modified the two doors. And once again, if I clicked on the door, interchange it with, say, a right hand door, press OK, there's a right hand door. Okay. Now let's include we'll say adjustable shelves, and we'll bring it into our unit here. Number of shelves, maybe 2 shelves, press OK, and we'll just assign the machining automatically. Now you can make changes to this afterwards. So once again, if we click on our shelf, we can change the number of shelf folds and also the spacings. We can also change the actual number of adjustable shelves, so from 2 to 3, like so. Okay. Now, what about drawers? Well, we can click on this drawer here and we can interchange that with, for instance, a Blum drawer. So it could be maybe a meta box, an equal, press OK, and it's assigned my drawer with all appropriate machining in place. If I click on this button here, it allows us to change the number of drawers within this unit. So how does this help you? Well, it helps you in regards to creating your library items quicker, and also your more standard work much quicker, but also gives you the flexibility to modify very easily the items that you've created already. Okay, so with revisions or anything like that, you can very easily modify these units. Okay, so now let's export this to Enroute. Okay, so we'll save it maybe onto my desktop here, and we'll call it maybe user. Okay, and we'll open up that and call it basic units. Press OK. Now I'm going to pick this whole assembly. Now the good thing about this and this dialog box is it allows us to increase quantities, but we can also pick parts manually. We can pick by material, like so. We can pick by thickness if we wanted to, or by part types. So we'll just pick by material at the moment. Pick all those parts, and it's now exporting it out. So what we can do now is open up Enroute, clear this, add in maybe our user, make sure all those parts are in place, and just process it. What it's also producing, of course, is the labels, and we've actually improved this link with Enroute, because it now gives us the part names on the sheet of board, but also which sides needs to be edged using this little symbol here, this triangular symbol. This information is also exported out onto the label, and I'll show you that in a moment. But as you can see, we've got all the relevant machining as well for our runners along our ends, as well as on our bottom of our drawer boxes. And I think we should have some machining, yes, on our ends for our adjustable shelves. Okay, now if I was to open up the label attached to this, we'll just print that out. We'll print it to PDF, and we'll just save that up now, maybe onto my desktop here, and we'll call it Label Maker. So once again, take a look at these items. This symbol here indicates that that's going to be the side edged. Again, how does this improve your situation? It means better communication out into the floor, better communication as well with the client, with the architect. So let's close that down, and let's start up a brand new drawing here. And what I want to show you next is an actual curved item. Okay, so let's see how we'd start this off. And what I want to do is I want to draw an item that is, for instance, a curved bench top that's got legs, and then we can send it through to machine, both from a pod and a nesting point of view. So let's kick this off. Let's draw up this line here. So this could be the guideline for the shape of my bench top. And during mid drawing, I can switch to a circle here, type in a radius, click on here, click on the line here, and stop that. Now, as you can see very plainly, I did this on purpose. You can see that we can't actually connect this arc here to the line properly. You've got to calculate that yourself. But you can also let the software do this for you. And this is why I'm talking about a software being intuitive, that it knows what you're planning on doing. Okay? It's the same way with the dimensions I'm going to assign here to this drawing. Not only am I assigning dimensions for visual purposes, but I can now click on this and I can say, right, that needs to be 125, this needs to be 350, and so on. Now, you're probably also used of elevations of plan, end view, and also front elevation. But here in TopSolid, we can have multiple different elevations. So here you can see that this is at an angle. Okay? But we can go to the front of that by just assigning a new view. We can then create, for instance, our bench top, this shape here. Again, auto dimension it. Create maybe the underside, the panel underneath my bench top, auto dimension again. And what I'll do is I'll create another volume here. Now you can very easily see that this dimension doesn't match up with this, but you can make them match by just replacing it. Do that again. Click on this dimension here, replace it with this. Becomes 27. What does that mean? It means that if I click on this, change this dimension to say 25 mils, it changes both that and that. If I click on this and say it's gotta be 650, once again, dimensions, it changes. So it's all parametric once you assign a dimension. Good. So we'll go to our 3D view once again. And I'm going to drag this shape here along this guideline, like so. Click on this, there you go. Click on this, we'll maybe create it in a different layer, and there you have it. Now we're going to make this transparent once again, this volume, by just clicking on it. Okay. Now the best thing about this, and this is extremely important, we see that creating revisions, creating drafting, it tends to become a bottleneck for companies and for yourselves. So this helps alleviate that situation, because we can very easily make changes to this drawing, be it curved or be it flat panels. In other systems, you'd have to redraw this whole drawing. With this, you can just simply make changes to the drawing. It's parametric in its nature. Now sometimes with your drawing, your legs mightn't be rectangular in shape, the panels. So we can just sweep this back at an angle, this volume here. Just click on these front faces, compute draft, and just bring them back. What that means now is that I can just say this needs to be 25 mils. Click on this edge here, bring it in. That's my in panel. Click on this once again. We'll make that automatic. Bring it in once again. That's my other end panel. What does this mean? Why did I draw the volume at the beginning? Because if we take a look at those two legs, and if I make changes to that now to the angle, it makes the changes to both of them. Anything inside that volume. Again, no redrawing, no having to waste time creating revisions. You can just change the dimension and it changes your whole drawing for you. Now let's get this ready for production. How do we do that? Well, I'm just going to pick the parts here and the shapes, and I'm going to assign part names to it. So it's automatically after giving a material, which you can assign a material here. If we go to our part types, you can assign a part type if we wanted to, of nest. We can call it, it could be called end, and we'll just scroll down, end left hand, apply that. Here that could be called end right hand, and our part type might be to nest as well. And maybe the top is called top, and we won't assign that to nest. I'll show you in a minute why. With this unit we might also want to create cutouts on the top. say for instance a cable management hole over here, and it could be a diameter of 80 mils. We might want some pocketing here at the front. Auto dimension that. We might want some rebate here for whatever reason on my drawing. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier on. This system has specific wood functions. We can have miters, marks and tinning, moulding, grooving, rebates, cutouts, pocketing. We can automatically assign construction to our items. But if we just looked at pocketing for the moment, I'll pick my contour here. What depth do I want my pocket to be? Click on 12 and it shows it to you visually, but that's also got production information, and I'll show you that when I export it out. What about that groove over here? This gives you the ability to pick your own profile too. We can assign widths here of my groove, depths, so we might change that to 8 mils. Press OK when you're happy, and it assigns the groove. If we want to cut out on our bench top, here we go, that's my cutout. What about if I want to assign construction to my bench top? Well, we can automatically assign it. Click on our automatic assemble. Maybe over here we might have screw construction. So here we'll just click on screw. We'll pick by material, so both items. We'll say that this will be my face. Press OK, and there are my screw holes. Again, fixings in place as well. Maybe over here on the left hand side we might want cams. Pick on dowel and cams, pick on my material once again, and cams, and it asks you, well, which face you want it on, the inside face or the outside face? Let's bring them on the inside face. Press OK, and there's my machining. This reduces errors and wastage, as you can see visually the machining and how it's going to occur when you send it through to CNC. Okay, so let's export this information out to Enroute. So let's go wood here, and we might say user, and we might create a brand new folder and call it curved unit. Click on curved unit. We'll call this curved unit as well, and save it in place. Click on this. Actually, we might just say main assembly, so we can always pick all the materials are called ash. Increase the quantities if we wanted to. Press OK. It's exporting it out now. So let's open up Enroute. Close this down. We don't need it anymore. And let's add these files in. Curved unit, bring it in. We can increase the quantities here. We'll just process TopSolid'Wood and true shape nesting. We've got all the pocketing, the cutouts, the rebates, and the calibration on the outside of my unit or my top. So let's head back to TopSolid, because what happens if you have a pod machine? Well, we can export out this information internally here in TopSolid'Wood. So we'll just click on this file here. It asks me, well, what actually CNC do you want to export it out? So you could have, if you've got multiple machines, that's okay. We can have different machine templates, but here we'll just pick a pod machine. Again, we can pick by material if we wanted to. So we can click on the material, Press OK, and it will actually place it onto the visual representation of the CNC for you. Okay, now this isn't just for visual purposes. Again, it's got production information behind it. So all of this isn't just visual, it's got real production information behind it. So you could have all your tool bank up here, set up here, and your actual tool bank out in the machine as you do. It's automatically after placing the pods in the correct positioning, so if you have automatic pod positioning. But the best thing about it is that we can automatically assign all the machining here. It's just going to run through this unit item. And then we can create a bit of a video of how it's actually going to be cut out. So it gives you, again, a better idea of how it's actually going to cut out at the CNC. So again, reducing errors and wastage. Of course, you don't want to be cutting down into your bed or into your pods or anything like that. And you want to make sure that the machining is going to be correct. And this gives you the ability to do that. So we can pause it and play it and so on as well here. So if I just pause that, don't need it any longer. We can see the machining there. But what I'll just do is I'll go back to my 3D model, and once again, if, say for instance, I move this machining here, and actually I'll move it over to here, so you can really see the difference when I actually go onto my 3D model on my CNC, my top, you can see that the machining has changed also. So it's all connected, it's all associative. Okay, now let's show you drafting. So I'll just go to a file new here. I'll open up a new drafting page. Now this template you can edit according to your own setup, of course, but I'll just go back to my 3D model. And what I'll do is I'll just open up that 3D model and the draft together. I'm going to go into my draft, click on this item here, drag it in, and drag this viewport into my draft. This is pretty much straightforward. You can see that we can turn on and off hidden lines. We can scale it down, turn on our shaded view and textures and so on. Press OK. Bring in our plan, bring in our end elevation, bring in our axle view. Bit quicker. What about sections? Or before that, if we make changes once again to our drawing, will it be associated? 110 will change the angle. Updates here. If we change maybe the length here to say 500, 500, updates here. If we change the depth 550, you get the idea. Okay, so it's all associated. Now let's focus in our draft. Let's create our section, maybe through here. We can create vertical or horizontal sections. Press OK, bring that out, and that's my section. What happens if you want to create a detail? Can create a detail here. Click on our point. Here we go. Bring down our detail. What about if we want to assign a dimension? I'm not just talking horizontal and vertical dimension. I'm talking about from point to point, but also radiuses, arc lengths, angles, because it's not just horizontal and vertical, we've also got our other dimensions as well that we've got to assign to a drawing at any time. Okay, we can even assign dimensions to our axle view, and we can assign it also to our details or even our sections. Okay? What about text? Once again, click on our text here. We can type in, TopSolid'Wood as I've done here, and we can pick on a point. If you go to move that text, it will stick to that point then. What about cutting lists and bills of materials? Well, this gives you the ability to create your own bill of materials and customize it once again to your own setup. So we can open up a template, click on point to point, or first of all click on the actual unit, then pick the points, and there's my bill of materials. But also it's got all the hardware assigned to this drawing as well, and we can filter out the hardware if you want. It's really up to yourself on how you want this set up, and the best thing about this is that you can modify it and change it according to your own setup. If you want any changes to be made afterwards, you can modify it yourselves. Okay? We can also assign here, which is an index. So this is according to your bill of materials. So as you can see, that this has the ability to speed up your drafting time, but also speed up the time at which you create revisions. Okay? Because as we've seen, we can very easily modify these sizes here without having to constantly redraw. Now, other wood functions include, edging, laminating, which again is all visual. We've got automatic assembly as I've shown you. We can assign mortise and tenon, dowels, biscuits, pocketing as I've shown you, grooving, miter cuts also, okay? And this is just the tip of the iceberg that I'm showing you here today. It goes to such a level in terms of customizing that you can actually remove these icons if you're not using them, and you can add in other icons. So you could have your own complete setup of functions here in your quick keys. You can even assign commands to certain keys yourselves, okay? For horizontal dimensions and certain functions. We can also open various different file formats. So here, these are all my file formats here that we can open. As you can see, it's pretty extensive compared to other softwares. If I went file save as, it's not like import and export, it's just open and save as. We can open up all these different file formats or save as, and we can even save as 3D PDF. Now, what does that mean? Your use of 2D PDFs and so on. Well, with this system, you can export out 3D PDF, send it to the client, and if they've got PDF, Adobe Acrobat basically, or PDF Creator, then we can open up this 3D PDF. And your client, or whoever you want to send this to, can open this up and not just see it in 2D, but play around with it. Make it transparent and so on, and create sections through it. Okay? So it gives you the ability to better communicate with your client, your architect, but also use the same files to better communicate to the floor, to production. Okay? Reducing errors, reducing wastage. It speeds up time to market. You don't have to be double handling, getting one software for standard work and another software for custom. TopSolid does all that work for you. It hands more of the control back to you, so you can customize the solution according to your specific needs, and you can do this yourselves. It's joinery specific. All these wood functions here are specifically set up for joinery. It's stable, very important. The less time you spend, as I said before, the less time you spend the system crashing, the more time you can spend on actually sending work out to production. It's quicker, faster in terms of drafting, in terms of revision. It gets rid of that, or it reduces that bottleneck that occurs when you've got to continuously send drawings to architects. It's backed by professionals, as I said earlier on. Okay. With this solution, of course, we've also got the ability to create renders and animations with TopSolid'Wood. Okay, so it's all integrated. So guys, this is a bit of a taster in TopSolid'Wood, CAM, and of course the link through to NRED. So if you've got any more questions, just let me know and I can answer them for you. Thank you very much, guys.